Hello students, welcome to academia. Today I will discuss pituitary gland. So in our previous discussion, we see that the introduction of the endocrine gland. Now as you know that endocrine glands are the glands which can produce the hormones. So this pituitary is the major, one of the important endocrine gland of our body. It is also known as hypophysis. It is located below the hypothalamus in the brain. Pituitary is also considered as master gland as it acts as a master and controls the other endocrine glands of our body. If we gone through the shape of the pituitary, then it is a very small pea-shaped gland. Like this will be the structure, and it is located at the base of the brain below the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus, which is important structure of our brain, it controls the anterior part of the pituitary via the different type of releasing hormones. The pituitary sits in its own little chamber, and this chamber is known as sella turcica. The weight of the pituitary gland is 0.5 grams in humans. This pituitary having principally two parts, that is adenohypophysis, which is called the anterior lobe of the pituitary. Now this anterior lobe is influenced by the hormones which come from hypothalamus. So the hormones which release from anterior lobe are called trophic hormones. And these trophic hormones cannot be synthesized from the pituitary glands cells if they are not influenced by the hypothalamus. So hypothalamus having an important role in the adenohypophysis or anterior lobe of the pituitary for releasing of the hormones. Next part is the neurohypophysis, and it is also known as the posterior part, and it is influenced by the neurons. And from this the name come neuro. So the neurons which convey the hormones directly from hypothalamic nuclei for the storage of the posterior lobe. So what is the main difference? So these hormones here are known as neurohormones. So trophic hormones and neurohormones. So what is the basic difference between anterior and posterior lobe is that the anterior lobe can produce hormones via the stimulation of the hypothalamus, whereas the posterior lobe acts as the storage part of the hormones which are released from the neurons of the hypothalamus. So next we see that where the pituitary is situated and the structure of the pituitary. Now in this diagram we see the positioning of pituitary gland. It is located at the base of the brain below the hypothalamus by means of a short stalk, and this stalk is made up of neuronal tissue, which is also known as infundibulum. Hypothalamus is a part of forebrain. The pituitary is located in the sella turcica cavity made of sphenoid bone. Now moving to the structure, we see the anterior lobe and posterior lobe. The anterior lobe is known as adenohypophysis, which can be further divided into three parts. These are pars anterior, which is the largest part responsible for hormone secretion; pars intermedia, a thin epithelial layer that separates the pars anterior from the posterior lobe; and pars tuberalis, an upwards extension of the pars anterior that surrounds the anterolateral aspect. In this portion, that is anterior pituitary, which I told before that the hormones is under the control of hypothalamus. Moving to the posterior lobe, which is called neurohypophysis, it consists of nervous tissue. It arises from the embryonic forebrain and is in essence an extension of the hypothalamus. The vessel supply of the pituitary gland is very complex and unique. In the anterior pituitary, it receives arterial supply from the superior hypophyseal artery. This vessel first forms a capillary network around the hypothalamus, and blood from this network then transported to a secondary capillary plexus, known as the hypophyseal portal system. And the infundibulum and posterior pituitary gland also receive rich blood supply from many arteries. Of these, the major vessels are the superior hypophyseal artery, infundibular artery, and inferior hypophyseal artery. So all the diagrams regarding the position, the structure, and the blood supply of pituitary gland are very important. You students go for the practice of the structure of pituitary gland so that there will be easy understanding of the different parts present. If you have any query regarding the introduction of the pituitary gland and its structure, can ask in the comment box. Thank you.